Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera all. In today's class, we are going to learn about cells of the nervous system. The objective of this class is to recognize the general structure of human nervous system and to recognize the cells of the nervous system as well as their functions. So this is the human nervous system. It is divided into central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is composed of the brain and the spinal cord, while the peripheral nervous system is composed of peripheral nerves that carries somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. What is somatic nervous system? Somatic nervous system is a system in the nervous system that controls the muscles and the sensation all over the body. It carries a signal of sensation from the body to the brain to be interpreted. And it carries motor signaling from the brain all over to the muscles in the body for the muscles to contract. So that is what we call as somatic nervous system. And what is autonomic nervous system? Autonomic nervous system controls the involuntary organs. Okay, what are involuntary organs? Basically, they are like the heart, the lung, the digestive tract, reproductive system, urinary system, the glandular, lymphatic system, immune system, and the endocrine system, yeah, hormone. So these are all uncontrolled ataupun involuntary. So this involuntary body function is controlled by autonomic nervous system. In autonomic nervous system, later we will learn that it has two divisions. One is sympathetic nervous system and the other one is parasympathetic nervous system. In general, sympathetic nervous system requires a lot of energy and it arouses the body in a sense that it gives us a lot of energy for moving and for production to increase our metabolism. Vice versa, the parasympathetic is contrary to sympathetic, whereby it calms the body, it conserves energy, and it results us in being more relaxed. Okay. So now we will learn about the nerve cells in the nervous system. There are many ways of classifying nerve cells in the nervous system, but this is how I classify the nerve cells in the nervous system. The cells that we can find in nervous system is divided into neurons and neuroglia. What are neurons? What are neuroglia? Neurons are the cells that transmit action potential. In another way, neuron is the electron signaling cells, while neuroglia do not transmit action potential, they do not transmit electric signal, rather they are the supporting cells of the nervous system. Okay. Now, take a look at the neurons. Neurons that transport the action potential or do the electron signaling. It can further be subdivided into polarity, myelination, and also its function. Okay. If you decide to classify the neurons with its polarity, you will find that the neurons can be divided into multipolar, bipolar, unipolar, and axonic neuron. Okay, so multipolar neuron we can see a lot in central nervous system, that is the brain and spinal cord, as well as the skeletal muscle. While bipolar neuron we can see in most sensory neuron, basically in the optic nerve and also olfactory nerve. Unipolar neuron usually we can see in sensory neuron or in the peripheral nervous system. Okay. What about an axonic neuron? Maybe you can find out about this one. Okay. If you decide to classify neuron into its myelination, you will find that neurons have two types. One is myelinated neuron, the other one is unmyelinated neuron. Most myelinated neurons are located in the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. But unmyelinated neuron is usually located at the autonomic nervous system. If you decide to classify neuron into its function, you will further find that neurons can be classified into motor neuron, sensory neuron, mixed neuron, and interneuron. Motor neuron is also known as efferent neuron. Efferent neuron. This neuron carries action potential from the brain and the spinal cord to the skeletal muscle. This is called the motor neuron. The function is to transmit action potential for skeletal muscle to contract. And sensory neuron is also called as afferent neuron. Afferent neuron. The function of sensory neuron is to carry sensory impulse from the peripheral into the central nervous system to be interpreted. And then there is another type of neuron, mixed neuron. Mixed neuron composed of both motor and sensory neuron. So it carries sensory stimulus from peripheral to central nervous system, and it also carries motor stimulus from central nervous system to peripheral nervous system or to the skeletal muscle. There is another subneuron called interneuron. Interneuron is a connecting neuron between motor neuron and sensory neuron. There is a connector and it's called interneuron. Usually it resides or located in the spinal cord. Interneuron mostly works with reflexes, spinal reflexes. Then we go to neuroglia. Neuroglia, as I said, are the supporting cells of the nervous system. And when I said nervous system, it has two components, that is central nervous system, peripheral nervous system. Therefore, the neuroglia in central nervous system and peripheral nervous system differs. The neuroglia that is located in central nervous system are oligodendrocyte that produce myelin sheath, ependymal cell produce cerebrospinal fluid or CSF, astrocytes that envelop the blood vessels and act as blood-brain barrier to filter any unwanted particles to cross into the brain substance. And also we have microglia, which is actually a macrophage, and it works as exactly as macrophage, that is to engulf any unwanted particle or substance in the brain tissue or in the central nervous system tissue. In peripheral nervous system, the neuroglia that are found there are Schwann cells that has similar function as oligodendrocyte, that is to produce myelin sheath in the peripheral nerve. And we also have satellite cells that controls the oxygen carbon dioxide exchange from the peripheral nerve to its surrounding. So this is a neuron structure. So in this diagram, it shows a multipolar neuron where you can see there is a lot of polarity, projection light, structure that comes out from the cell body. So it is called the multipolar neuron. Multipolar neuron structure in general, every neuron has a cell body, which in the cell body, it has a single nucleus. From the cell body, it has elongated structure called the axon. And the end of the axon, there are button-like structure called the synapse, or the axon button or axon terminal. These are also called as terminal dendrites. Some nerve or some neuron, it has myelinated axon. Some neuron, it has unmyelinated axon. So what does it mean? Both myelinated and unmyelinated axon are, both of them do have myelin sheath. However, myelinated axon have myelin sheath that has a lot of layer. But unmyelinated neuron only, the axon of unmyelinated neuron only have one layer of myelin sheath. The axon is embedded in one layer of myelin sheath. Myelinated axon, the axon is wrapped with multiple layer of myelin sheath. That's all. Thank you.